Hi everyone. Very interesting topic today. It's about the Christianity and the matter of apostolic succession or spiritual authority. I've talked to hundreds of Christians, maybe thousands over the years, and one thing that comes up many times is the desire of some to say that the other denominations have false religion. Oh, they're false religion. That's false religion. I've got true religion. Interesting, isn't it? That they're false and I'm true. But then you go to ask the other guy and he says, well, he's true and they're false. And it seems that some of them, the Christians, have just enough Christianity to hate each other or hate fellow Christians, which is sad. Let's get to the root of the business. Before the Lutheran schism, shall we say, all Christianity was pretty well the Church of Rome. So they all have the same root, and pretty much, and I'm not going to split different hairs here between different sects, denominations and revelations, they all draw from the same well. The Catholic Church has a book called the Catechism of the Catholic Church. This summarizes 2,000 years of deep thinking around the Lord's Prayer, the Nicene Creed. And all of the Christian denominations and beliefs would say that they are connected with Peter the Apostle, and they would like to quote Jesus' alleged statement, "You're Peter, and upon you're like the rock, I will build my church, and may the gates of hell cannot prevail against it." And that quote is used many times to justify the spiritual authority and the matter of apostolic succession. Since Peter was the head apostle, Jesus gave Peter apparently his mantle, the keys to the kingdom, as it were. That's the insignia of Rome. And that continued as the tradition of Christianity. We don't know if Jesus really said those words, because it could have been written afterwards, because it's a political matter. Whereas a parable about the prodigal son or the good Samaritan or the vineyard and the vine workers, they're not matters of debate or worry, because they're moral lessons. But this other one about Peter's succession is of great importance. And the whole foundation of Christianity and authority rests upon that. But let's have a little look, a little investigation into the matter, because I think there are some features that need to be brought out and then brought to our attention, because there might be more work involved yet. So here we go. The apostles, and I've got 8 useful points, and each time I repeat the apostles, were the people known to Jesus who abandoned him at his time of need. They abandoned him, and yet he asked for commitment. So if you abandon your teacher who asked for your commitment, can you say that you have his spiritual authority and succession? Big question there. The apostles barely understood the essence of Jesus' project to build God's kingdom on earth. If you study any of Jesus' lectures and presentations in the Gospels, at many times at the end there'll be a little interview with the apostles, and many times they did not understand what he was teaching. They were baffled. They were confused. They didn't fully get it. But hold on, maybe there's a reason. Well, these apostles only had a short time, about 2 years, to receive Jesus' instruction and training, which took him at least 15 years to develop. If you follow the story, the sequence of the Bible story, at about 12, Jesus was talking to the lecturers and rabbis and teachers at the temple. And then he began his public mission, let's say, 29. something like that. So in that period, he had to build his understanding. And that's 15 years. So how can these guys who are fishermen pick it all up in 2 years? I'm not making excuses, I'm just pointing out the facts. Now, these apostles did not graduate from Jesus' training program of heart, mind, relationship, and action. I'm going to underline that word graduate. They did not graduate from his program. I can ask you, turn it the other way. I can say, who graduated, which apostle graduated, and how do we know they graduated? And a graduate fully understands all what the teacher has for them to learn and has gone through the complete training course. Didn't happen. The apostles had not developed a mature and stable relationship with God as their heavenly parent. That is abundantly clear. They all ran away. They had no understanding of what was going on. They didn't really know where God was at the time. They were deeply programmed and influenced by the surrounding fallen culture. The Jewish legalistic system, the conventions of the time, the whole idea and expectation in Israel of this Messiah king. There was a whole lot of elements that they had on board, they'd taken on board, which blocked them from really understanding Jesus, including the matter of Elijah, John the Baptist. The Elijah had to come first. That's a whole separate presentation. And notice at the end when they went to Jerusalem, most of them abandoned him at the very end. They went down to the fairground, to the candy floss machines, to the coconut shy, to the ghost train. They were participating in the religious festival instead of protecting Jesus at that point, so he wouldn't have had to be murdered or executed, captured. They were fallen people of the tree of the knowledge, good and evil culture and civilization. And I've given some very clear presentations on this. They, apostles, were only partially accessible to the Holy Spirit due to the accumulation of the above issues. So to say that the Holy Spirit inspired the apostles and it was all hunky-dory is true to the extent of their level of development. There's no way that the Holy Spirit can turn a child into a marathon runner just like that. In their childhood state, early stages of spiritual development, 2 years, you expect me to believe you that their 2 years training, the Holy Spirit accelerated them to take on fully Jesus' 15 years of training and learning and experience, just like that, because the Holy Spirit's around. They were only partially accessible. So therefore, they were only able to partially get bits and pieces afterwards. That's all we've got. The sweepings, the bits that dropped off the table. The apostles remained fallen men and women, stuck between the line of the law and the line of the cross. They didn't get near the line of the fall. And there's a big question there as well, because if you believe Paul's recipe for salvation through the blood of the crucified and risen Christ, Peter, James, John, and all the Jerusalem church hadn't followed Paul's recipe, so how could they all be saved? And yet they were the apostles closest to Jesus, but they don't fit into Paul's recipe or Paul's formula for salvation. Huh? Okay. Figure that one out. Therefore, considering the above and more, because there's plenty more we could discuss about this matter, let's go into it. Jesus' heavenly kingdom on earth mission, apostrophe S, remains unfulfilled because the apostles didn't understand it. The church hasn't, they're inheriting the apostles' succession and spiritual authority, hasn't got it. Note well, the Bible's book of Revelation is not the cure to all this problem. The book of Revelation applies to the Roman Empire's fall circa 400 AD. Whoever John of Patmos was, whoever that John guy was, his ideas and dreams relate to the times of his period, and he was writing around 11 about the 110 years after Jesus, after the birth of Jesus. So about say 70 years after Jesus had been executed, and he was looking at the collapse of Rome, which took a while, but that's what the book of Revelation applies to. Anything else after that is just conjecture. Now, God continues to seek people prepared to commit and to go beyond the above limitations, which are baked into the Christian religion. And Christianity, the remnant from Jesus' mission, continues as superior to all other religions and philosophies. So within Christianity are the embers of Jesus' mission, which, blown on by the Holy Spirit, could burst into fire. They could come alive again, providing that these matters are overcome. But to do that, we're going to need a deeper understanding of Jesus' heavenly kingdom on earth mission. And we cannot get it from going into this stuff, the old soup, which is baked into Christian religion. All these problems, we can't get the answer there. The series of presentations I'm giving you open up these topics and show the way forward. Jesus' narrow way still makes sense. So Christianity and the matter of apostolic succession has now been addressed for you, and the matter is now very clear and open for your thought, discussion and commitment. Thank you, Chris Newman.